How you doing, Christoph?
That's
Good.
So while Kevin
get ready to turn her on here.
Yeah. This is starting to become a
I was
little,
looking at that picture like that's not what I'm
and it's
wearing.
not
What is it?
just.
Thank you.
It's
Add that.
All right, good evening and welcome to the Chaska City Council for Monday, September 29th. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Would everyone please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Lisa, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Hatfield?
Here.
Councilmember Benish?
Here.
Councilmember Shevlin?
Here.
Councilmember McGraw?
Here.
Mayor Hubbard?
Here. All right, next we have adoption of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt agenda.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Shevlin
Second.
and a second from Councilmember Benish. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda is adopted. And that brings us next to our visitor presentation. If anybody's, I know we have one on the schedule here first, 5A, recognize Chaska Water as the best in glass at the State Fair tap water test. Taste test, sorry. Come on down.
Hi, I'm Stu Thornley with the Minnesota Department of Health and the Minnesota section of American Water Works Association. We're an industry association, and 13 in 2012, we started doing a tap water taste test at the State Fair on the sustainability stage in the Eco Experience building. So we had a couple of breaks in there because of the pandemic, but we've had about a dozen winners. Only one that's taken this award twice. I would have gotten a different shape award if I had known, but now you've got two of these kind of similar on your desk. Chaska became the first two-time winner. We know Chaska has good water, and now a lot of other people do too. And a lot of other cities, there are 22 entries this year from across the state, and the biggest thing is that we get to promote tap water. Just outside, there's the stands that are selling bottled water for $3.50 a bottle. And a lot of the fairgoers have a bottle like you have there. And we've got about a filling station in that building. They can go over and fill that with really good water. That's St. Paul water. It's good too. They were one of the finalists this year. Cold water, good for you, tastes good, and it's virtually free. And a lot of people just have some fears about their water, and we want to let them know how thoroughly tested it is, how closely regulated it is, more so than water from any other source, including bottled water. But this gives us about 45 minutes to engage with fairgoers. We get them involved. They're the ones doing the tasting on the water and voting. We have it like the NCAA tournament, a bracket, and they count their way down until we get to the final four, and then start revealing who the finalists are, who the winners are. But they answer trivia questions, they get some prizes for it. They ask questions, they tell us where they're from. Do they get their water from a well? Do they get it from a city? What city? So this has been a great way for us to engage the public from across the state every year, and we're just always thrilled with all the cities that submit water, and Chaska's been doing it for a long time, and that we finally have our first two-time winners. So I guess we'll get into this.
Thank you.
Gonna brag it up?
Matt, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Yeah, this was an awful big surprise. I had Kevin texting me as the results were coming in, and it seemed like right as I was finishing texting him back, another round was completing, and we were advancing it. I just couldn't believe how fast it was going. But this is a direct reflection on the group we have working here at the city. We have a absolutely dynamic staff working for us, and I'm extremely proud of them for what they do every day. Most of it is not what people see unless there's water's getting shut off or there's some other things, then they think about the water. But between the treatment plant and the wells and the distribution system, they put a lot of time and a lot of pride in what we do here. And so this is just a little sample of their hard work. So look forward to hopefully more victories in the future.
Three-time winner.
Three-time winner.
Yeah,
We have
something to strive for.
great water. I tell people that all the time. Tap water, we've like ice cold tap water is my favorite here in Chaska. And I feel like we're very spoiled, and you're right, like our team is really to thank for that. And actually, Kevin, you don't even know this, but I saw you running around that day because I was standing waiting for donuts outside. I had this water bottle that I did fill at the fillers at the fair, which is my favorite thing to do. I always say that's like one of my state fair tips is bring a water bottle. Do not pay for bottled water there, especially like Dasani and stuff like ew. So we have fantastic water. I tell people that all the time. So thank you to you and your team. And yeah, just very excited. It seems like silly, but it's important. It's literally you need water to live. So
Who were some of the runners-up, or like who were we?
Well, short.
Which, there's an ugly rumor, Shoreview's tried to spread that we tossed the coin at the end. This was decided by the group. Chaska and Shoreview were out there, and the group chose Chaska. And then St. Paul and Wakebeard Township
Okay,
were the other final four.
awesome.
Yeah, you know, Chaska, we take heat from our water because it's hard. People see the calcium buildup and things like that, but that, I believe that adds to some of the taste elements of the tap water. And it's good for you. We all need calcium and magnesium in our bodies. So, yeah, I'm super proud of this and super proud of my staff for making it
So,
happen.
Matt, can you ask the pondering question that maybe my son and I have, that we prefer water from our upstairs bathroom?
yes, the bathroom water is better for some reason.
The
Why?
bathroom water in my house, I mean, not that the other water
softened.
tastes bad, but like our bathroom water that comes out of
softened.
our faucet is.
Kitchen water is typically not softened, like the
Oh,
tap
really?
water in
Is
the
that
kitchen.
Oh, is
And
that what that is?
Because then you can water your plants with it,
Yeah.
and then the stuff in the rest of the
I
house
thought
is
only
usually
the
soft.
I thought I was crazy. I'm so glad you said that because our bathroom, growing up in my childhood home, the bathroom was colder and tasted a little bit better than the kitchen water.
Even yes,
I would argue that it's maybe not softened up there because generally cold water is not softened.
Okay.
It's hot water that's softened. Usually from your softener, it goes to the water heater after that.
Sure.
And it's possible that it is, but it could be a faucet that you guys use more, and so you're getting fresh water instead of
Okay.
having it sit in the pipes for several hours before.
it's just
disposal.
curious, because both my son and I attest to how great our kitchen,
also
or
be a
our
placebo
bathroom water is. So, yeah, I give my son a hard time for not drinking enough water, and he's like, I'll go get some from the bathroom
It is
upstairs.
better though. It's weird.
Yeah,
So,
I'd like to thank these guys for putting on the contest and steering it. It's a great activity to promote what it is we do, and you know, we'll keep submitting and hopefully bring home more victories.
well, thank you for, caretaking the water. It's such an important resource. And like you had said, you know, it's something that if it's going well, people don't think about it. And that's the ideal goal. People don't have to worry about the safety of their water in their community and how important it is to have safe drinking water. So thank you.
And that it can go wrong.
And yes.
I
and
mean,
yes.
if you ever watched a documentary on Flint, Michigan?
Yes.
I mean, you can see how things can go wrong, and so it is definitely not something to take for granted. There is a
Right.
lot of work that goes into making it safe.
Yeah, and the real-time monitoring, I had the unique privilege of kind of being able to do a little segment of Taylor Tries with the water department and see, you know, the software firsthand and kind of see at like 4 o'clock in the morning, everything is spiking. Well, why is it spiking at like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m.?
Softeners, come on.
Well, no, the sprinklers.
Irrigation.
Everyone's irrigation systems, you know, and then he can, you know, he showed me you can even pinpoint, you know, on certain days with certain elements and with the weather and just that real-time monitoring is so important. So, thank you.
Yep, thank you guys.
All right, congrats. Okay. Are we all walking down there with?
You guys can stand if you wanted to stand
Well,
up.
is that
Unless you want to come down.
I was gonna say, is it weird? He's the only person.
We usually just
or-
stand up here, though.
Oh, yeah.
They're all.
Oh, they're all coming up. Okay, I thought it was just Matt that was gonna be down there.
Yeah, just Matt.
Oh, you too. You're
No,
part
you
of
hold it.
Chaska's,
Yeah, you wanna get in the
water. You
picture?
guys can hold it.
You can if you want.
Hey, Ernie, oh, you get in here. Let's take-
Yeah, I can take the.
No, you need to be in the picture. You
Why do I?
I'm gonna tell you, but I think you can see.
I'll take it.
Here we go. Ruby, scoot closer to Mr. Rocky, please. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. All right, one more. 1, 2. There we go. Awesome. Get it?
Come on up here, Rebecca.
Love it.
Doing all this.
Yeah.
Michelle.
No, Michelle.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I got a few in there.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Did you guys have to travel very far to get here?
We had an emergency alarm in our building at about 2:45
Oh.
that I tried to sleep through, but it wasn't possible. When I left, I said, I'm just heading out here, and it was great because there's no traffic. And I parked, I went to the library, I went and ate, and the only time I ever get to Chaska is to ballparks.
Oh, yeah.
Glad you're able to take a full tour. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, well, that moves us along, or is anybody else here for a visitor presentation, something that's not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move right along then to approval of the previous meeting minutes. These meeting minutes are from September 15th. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the minutes? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
A motion to approve previous meeting minutes?
Okay, a motion from Councilmember Grah.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Shevlin. Any discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Let's move along to the consent items. These items receive little to no discussion, but we are open to pulling anything off for a larger discussion if necessary, or if anybody has a question or comment on something.
I was just going to congratulate the Golden Kitchen on their opening. They had their grand opening this past week. Restaurant in that spot is just so important to the vitality of our downtown. So I really thank them for kind of stepping out and taking a leap to open that and keep a restaurant in that space and kind of protect the vitality of downtown. So excited to approve their liquor license. Everybody wants a margarita, so we'll get that done. But just wanted to welcome them to the community and congratulate them on opening. So.
Yeah, shared, echo this statement as well.
Is their menu different than Patron's?
Sounded like from the narrative that was given to us,
Pretty
that is going to be very similar.
Okay. Yeah,
You know,
that's what they've been
maybe-
saying
Maybe
on
some
Facebook.
minor tweaks.
Okay.
The owners are a couple that used to work, or at least one of them used to work for Patron's. But the Patron's business owner doesn't have anything to do with
Okay.
this business anymore, so I'm
They
sure.
used to have the best tableside guac there that they made in front of you. Oh.
Sure. Yeah, I think the narrative really kind of spelled out that their emphasis was on having a family-friendly restaurant. And so that's really great. And I think sometimes when you hear conversation with our residents, they really look forward to having those options dining-wise for their families. So this will be a great solution. So, all right. Well, with that, any other comments or questions? Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to
Consent?
approve consent.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Hatfield
Second.
and second from Councilmember Benish. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent items are approved. All right, that moves us along to our action items. We just have one, and it's 8A, which is adopt Resolution number 2025-68, adopting the proposed 2026 maximum property tax levy.
Mayor and council members, the item in front of you tonight is the first official action that you guys take on the 2026 budget. We've been talking about this actually for quite a while. The first time we talked about it was back in a work session on June 30th, and then we also talked about it a couple weeks ago during a work session. I think it was on September 8th. So a lot of what you guys are going to see here is what you've already seen, but we opportunity to sort of understand what goes into making the recommendation that we are. So going through the presentation, so we'll start talking about where we've been. The first part of our budgeting process that we always go through is identifying what those objectives we're trying to accomplish through the budgeting process. And again, this is just for our general fund, but we use very similar objectives within each of our enterprise funds as well. So first we want to support our mission of being the best small town in Minnesota, maintain existing high-quality service levels, fully fund maintenance and replacement of vehicles, equipments, and physical assets on a regular schedule, fund new programs only after existing necessary programs are funded, develop a long-term budget plan that's sustainable to support the service levels our residents expect, fully fund the needs of our street reconstruction program, and then budget utilizing a plan that avoids drawdown on our general fund reserves, really trying to keep our bond rating high as we're going through a lot of debt, purchasing of debt because of our building program and streets and all that kind of stuff. Next slide. So, sort of the heart of our discussion around setting a maximum tax levy is really talking about what is our tax levy policy. So this policy has been in effect since 2015. And really what it says is that we limit our tax levy growth to capture the new growth in the community. So that'd be all new buildings, new houses, things like that. New growth is really, we really need to make sure that we're capturing that, because if we don't, we're not capturing the resources that they bring into town that go towards the increasing amount of services that we have to provide because of new growth. So it's, I don't want to say it's a freebie, but it's sort of a freebie because it's, it doesn't really have an impact on existing properties. But we want to limit the tax levy growth to capture new growth in the community, and then expenditure inflation. And making sure that if we have inflationary increases in our costs, that we're making sure that we're keeping up with that, and that we'd only increase the levy beyond this point if new service levels, assets, or initiatives are being added. In this year's case, this is the last year of our building improvement program, so having a levy that's specifically addressing that. After this year, that is no longer something that we have to work on. We would be completed with that. Next slide. So last year's, just to give you a sense of last year compared to this year. So last year's key budget items that we talked about, first of all, continuing to utilize our tax levy policy, continued implementation of our $1 million CAMP program. So that's our capital asset maintenance program. So that's really going into something we created back in 2017 to really go back and fund the basically keeping up with the maintenance of things that need to get replaced, so like playgrounds or roads being resurfaced, trails being resurfaced, those things, so we make sure that they stay in good shape. We talked last year about the fact that we completed our staffing study implementation. So we started that back in 2020. We had 19 positions that we were short for just the services we were providing, and we worked on sort of closing that gap over that 4-year period. Last year was the implementation of the 3rd year of our building improvement program, so 2026 would be the last year of doing that to complete that process. And then we continued building our general fund reserve balance. So we actually have $300,000 budgeted that we've done annually since 2021 to help bring our reserve balances up. At the same time, though, we've had some pretty significant growth in the community that's allowed us to build our reserve balances up to healthier levels. So back in 2020, we had a $1.9 million general fund reserve balance. In 2024, we ended with 6.9 million, which represents about 33%. The target is 40%. So that's really sort of where we're aiming towards. So we're getting really close to that target of where we'd want to be. So where are we now? Slide everybody hates. The local government aid. Again, I only throw this in here because we used to receive over $1 million a year. If you consider 20 years of not receiving $1 million a year is a lot of, it's a lot of dollars left on the table. One thing that I think, we've really been able to do is, when we sort of finished funding our staffing program, we really sort of, at that point, sort of levied back what we lost in local government aid, and were able to get ourselves to a staffing level that was appropriate for sort of the services we were providing. That's really where we saw the pain when that LGA was taken away. And so I feel good now that we have levied that back, and that really went into properly staffing ourselves. So hopefully this will be the last year you see this.
Promise it every year.
I say it every year. Next slide. Population growth. So the 2024 population estimate was 29,830 people, which was just over 11,000 households. Clearly, with the permits that we've had pulled over the last year and a half, we're clearly over 30,000 people right now. So we've seen quite a bit of growth that's happened, and you can see that with the population as the top chart. Where we started in 2000, where we were about 18,000 people in 2000, to now we're about 30,000 people. We've seen about 12,000 people or so increase our community. I grew up in a community of 4,000 people, so that, when I look at 12,000, it's like that's a lot of people to add in that short amount of time period. So we've definitely seen growth. And then you can see the household numbers down below. And maybe the thing to really focus on in here is really where do we expect to be? So 2040 is really where we're sort of projecting where we're going to be completed with building. We'll be a fully built out community. You can see we project that we're going to be about 36,000 residents, and we'll have just a little shy of 15,000 homes in the community. Now that could shift a little bit here or there as far as the numbers based on the density of housing, or, within that time period between now and 2040, there's probably going to be some sort of an event that slows down housing growth. So that could slow things down a little bit, but that's our best guess for when we'll be done and where we'll end up.
So that's an interesting graph because it shows households and head count.
Mm-hmm.
So that must mean it's turning over to a fairly young community then, because the head count is going up greater than the household, so it must be that there's a lot more youth.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think everybody's seeing is the size of the households, the number of people in the households is smaller now than it was in the past.
Okay.
And so, in the past, you may have seen maybe 3 people per household. Mm-hmm. Now we're probably closer to under 2.5 people per household. Okay. So it's, so we're definitely, and I mean, if you think about the development that we've seen, I mean, look at Edelwood is a good example. I mean, that was a lot of households, 200 some households, and each one of them have 1 to 2 people in there. So, so we do have a lot more diversity in the type of housing that we have now. Next graph, and this really shows the growth that we've seen in building permits. And I mentioned this to you guys during the work sessions that we had, but to me, one of the things that really stands out about this is I remember back in the 2000 to 2005, 2006 time period, that was like we were humming. There was a lot of growth happening, and we thought, boy, we are really growing. But if you look at the amount of growth back at that time period compared to what we've seen over the last 4 years, mm-hmm. it's significantly different. And you can see, we had between about 2006 and you know, 2011, that little peak that we have come up, that's actually the 212 Medical Center. And then also United Health Group did their data center in that time period. So we didn't really see the residential growth start to come back until about 2014 after the recession. So we had about a 6-year period there where we weren't seeing a lot of residential growth. But since 2020, we've seen significant growth. And we expect that we're going to continue to see significant growth. Obviously, we have one big development that's being developed right now out in Southwest Chaska. We've found out that the one remaining property in Southwest Chaska that was remaining to be developed on the east side of the freeway now has a buyer to put in housing there. So I think we're going to continue to see some pretty heavy housing development. At the same time, we're seeing some pretty heavy interest in industrial development too. So we'll see some real mixture in type. I mean, we know for certain next year that we're going to see 3 industrial projects, and one of them's ours with the municipal service building, but we're going to see EDCO, and then we're going to see Beckman Coulter as well. And there is interest in the new industrial park down at 44 and 212. So I really think that our building permits the next couple of years are going to continue to be pretty high because of things that are just imminent and are waiting to happen. Next slide. This looks at our market values, the growth that we've seen. So we continue to see very high growth. So we saw a 7.51% increase in overall market value, so that's that bottom right-hand corner. The things I focus on when I look at this quite a bit is looking at each of the different categories. So you can see in 2025, we saw a 6.78% increase in market values for residential properties. 2.83% of that is actually coming from new construction. In commercial industrial, we see a 5.23% increase. 2.7 of that is new construction. Apartments, we saw a 20% increase, and all of that was from new construction that was occurring in the community because we had over 700 units that were constructed over the last year and a half. But then I look at the total, and when you look at that 7.51%, 4.1% of that is actually new growth, where 3.41% is market changes. So the market changes that we're seeing in existing properties are pretty consistent with inflation. But most of the increase we saw in market values is coming from new growth. And we're now at $5.2 billion of value in our community now. So that's, it's a very high number. Next slide shows a distribution of where we see those value, or where we see the actual growth or buildings that we see in the community. You can see 75% of our community is residential. Commercial industrial is 15%, apartments is 8%. I do think when we're all said and done with development, I think we're going to be closer to that 20% for commercial industrial in the community. Because one thing that we did see in 2024 is we saw commercial industrial properties go from 9% of the total distribution to 15%. So we are seeing an increase in the amount of commercial industrial, and that's going to, I think, it's inevitable that that's going to change just given the industrial parks that are developing on the west end of the community.
I mean, that's really, really neat to see that in such a short period of time, we nearly doubled our industrial and commercial.
Yeah, I mean, you think of it out by, the Opidin, buildings out there. We've had, and, United Health Group, they sort of started things out, and, we've seen a lot of development out there, but we're also seeing, growth, like physical growth in our existing buildings, like Beckman Coulter, adding on to facilities. But we've also seen quite an increase in the load for electricity being used by existing users in the community. It's not just from growth of new buildings.
That's good.
Next slide. This is the history of our market values.
Big trend of everything.
They've, you know, and a lot of this growth, again, has happened because of new growth in the community. Everybody who was on the council in 2022 remembers that year because that was the year that,
Woof.
yeah, that was a tough year because most of that market value growth was the existing properties market values going up by 20-some percent. That was a tough year. But with that being said, there was a lot of real estate transactions happening in the community right around the time COVID was happening, which really drove some of those valuations up. We've seen much more modest increases, and a lot more of the valuation increases that we've seen recently, again, have been attributed to new growth within the community. Next one, new construction. So this sort of points out you know, what new construction has done as far as increasing in valuation. And you can definitely see the last 3 years, and we expect this to go into next year as well, we've seen very high percentage of new growth in the community, which ultimately has an impact of reducing the burden on existing properties within the community from a tax perspective. Next slide. Our electric fund transfer, so we have sort of two components that are involved in this. So if you remember when we set up the franchise fee for Minnesota Valley Electric and Xcel and CenterPoint, we have a 5% franchise fee. So we charge that same franchise fee to our electric fund for use of the right-of-way. But on top of that, we've always made an additional 5% contribution from the electric fund into the general fund to help reduce taxes. The increase of this dollar amount is directly attributed to the increase in the amount of sales that we see in our communities. So this represents 10% of our electric sales. So you can see from 2013 we were at $3 million transfer, and we anticipate we're going to be close to $5.5 million next year. So, you know, just through increase in electric sales, we've seen an increase in the last 10 years or so of just over $2 million. So that has the impact also of decreasing the tax burden on our residents.
Is that partially because of the data center?
It's, actually it is. Like United Health Group and the other data centers have grown, but where we've seen more consistent growth has been with our existing industrial businesses. So one of the things that happened, when did we put up the North State substation? Maybe 5-6 years ago? Yeah, so we had to put a new substation up in our North Industrial Park because we could not keep up with the load in the growth. And those businesses, those buildings, a lot of them have been around since like the 80s.
Yeah,
So just the fact that we had to put a substation in there to be able to serve that load really shows what an increase we've seen from existing businesses in the community.
That's cool.
Next slide. So, key factors that we look at is, obviously our population and households, looking at how they increase, and, continued growth that we anticipate. And when we talk about High Point Vista and Fulton Wood are two ones that are developing now. It's entirely possible that by mid next summer, we could see the remaining parcel on the east side of the freeway in southwest Chaska, right next to our park, actually start to move forward with development for residential there. So we continue to see that. We also are starting to see some real interest from developers of looking up in the McKnight Road area. And that area is guided more for development, like a Greenbelt type development that would be more like Chevelle type of development where you're trying to preserve different pockets of green space and then cluster development into certain areas. But there is starting to be interest there, which doesn't really surprise me because the thing that's really driving that is the improvements that the county made to 82nd Street.
Oh, sure. That neighborhood that's, they're in my ward, but I should know this, Autumn Woods, on the golf course on Hazeltine.
Yep.
And then there's like a new Lennar
Yep.
just north of it.
Yep.
Is that Chaska or Chan?
That's Chaska.
That is Chaska.
Yep, Chaska goes, actually, Chaska goes across Audubon into the Shadowwood neighborhood.
That's mine.
That's your, yep.
The new Lennar, our ward splits down out of, or,
I'm talking like, you know where
Yeah.
Hazeltine, the golf
Yep.
course is, and there's like those.
that side of the street is in your ward.
That's
The
still
other
Chaska.
side of the street is in my ward. It's weird.
It's.
But, and then we
it's
have a little
down
bit of
Longstretch.
Shadow Woods, just a little guy
Yeah.
on the other side too.
Notch
Yeah.
there, yeah.
But the Liberty on Bluff Creek and all that is Chanhassen. So
That's in-
Audubon's
that's
the-
in
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's kind of the line.
Yeah, we
there.
have just a little bubble that goes into Chanhassen.
Because I know where you're talking Shadowwood, and that is
Yeah.
yours, because you're the whole other side of Audubon, down through downtown, yeah.
Yep, and then across Audubon, that little.
I
is
didn't know
Shadow.
that this new one, I was thinking about at night tonight going in to introduce myself, but I thought that was Chan, so.
Nope, that's
Okay.
all Chaska there, yep. As far as developments, permits again have continued to outpace our budget. You know, once again this year, I think we're probably gonna be quite a bit over what we actually budgeted for revenue, which is good because again, we're trying to build up our general fund reserve balance. Again, we continue to see development interests, and we know, like I told you for certain, that 2 industrial buildings will be under construction, along with our building will be under construction next summer. And then we have the concept plan for the Razor property and the Close property at 44 and 212. They're going through the environmental process right now, and we expect that we could see a concept plan sometime next summer, and maybe even starting to develop that area over there by the end of next year, or end of next summer. And then market values, again, we've continued to see increase in market values, and we're really now seeing new growth increases outpace increases on existing properties, which again helps shift that tax burden off of existing properties. And we'll see that when in the chart where I sort of show you what we thought was going to happen with the building program and what's actually happening. You can really see the impact there that new growth has had. Next
I have
slide.
one more question about
Yep.
the residential. If you're going down the Big Woods towards downtown off 212, there's that ensconced way neighborhood. I never even knew that was a neighborhood. Is that new? Or is
That's probably within the last year.
Okay.
Where they've had, maybe 2
Couple
years.
I knew like the
Yeah.
Harvest and Founders, but then that I just saw the other day, like for real, and I'm like, wow, that's all new, I think.
Yeah, and those are all custom built homes in there.
Bunch of
They're-
parade homes over there.
Yep.
They're
Are there?
really-
Yeah.
If you want to see them,
I
is the
should-
parade still going on? If the parade's still going on,
Is
Don't
bunch-
call
I
it the
think
Parade
there's-
of Homes now, though. It's called something different, isn't it?
no, I'm pretty sure all the signs still say Parade of Homes.
Does it?
But I think there's like 3 or 4 of them over there, so if anybody wants to
It
see
looks
them.
like a really nice new neighborhood.
Yes, we
very
just walked
nice.
through there last couple nights. We've gone for walks because it's been so nice. And, yeah, there's just a good variety. Big 2 stories, walkouts, lots of windows. Some of those houses, I was just like, oh, I thought I had a lot of, like, just so many windows.
Yeah, they're very unique. I remember when
Yeah.
I was door knocking last summer, just.
I didn't even know that
Still
was
under
there. I thought this is a
construction,
new neighborhood altogether. I've
Yeah,
never
it's
seen that.
pretty cool because it's pretty tucked in the woods.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I had a quick question about the general reserve fund balance. I know right now we contribute like 300,000 annually to it, and then we obviously put whatever additional money that we get from construction permit. I know we're at like about 30%.
33 right now.
33, and our target's like 40. So how long do you think anticipatorily would it take for us to get to the target? Like, how many years off are we on that?
Not long.
Okay.
I mean, if we continue
it's
to,
like-
if we continue to see building permits outpace what we're budgeting, that's what's going to push us up
Okay.
faster.
I was just curious,
Yeah.
like, where we're
I mean,
at.
my gut tells me 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
All right, so where we're going for 2026, so really 3 points. Continued utilization of our tax levy policy, continued implementation of our CAMP program, our capital asset maintenance program, and then the last year of our building program. Those are really sort of the 3 things we're focusing on. So as far as the tax levy policy itself, so again, it's inflation plus new growth. That's sort of the baseline. So you can see inflation, we've actually used a number of 3.44%. That's a little bit lower actually than what you guys saw the last time, because we've sort of looked at it and you know, saw where inflation was going. It's not that far, but it's a little bit lower. New growth, again, is 4.1%, which if you were looking at just our baseline tax levy increase based on this policy, we'd be at a 7.54% increase. So based on just that, for the medium value home in the community, which is, I believe, $410,000 now, or it's right around $400,000, the impact would be $7.08 per month, or $85 annually for our operational levy. And then again, under our new program, or under our policy, any new things then would be added onto that. That's our building program. We'll talk about that in a second. Next slide. So our camp program, again, the purpose of this is to maintain our existing assets and keep them in good condition. We put $1 million towards this each year. One thing that we are doing differently this year than we have done in the last few years is we have not included an inflationary increase. So $1 million in 2017 isn't the same value as $1 million now. So we're going to start this year going forward is that we make sure that we're adding inflationary increase to be able to keep up with that. So we'll use that, whatever, 3.5% number for that to give us the total number. But the types of things it goes towards is, you know, again, street seal coat and overlay program, our trail surface rehabilitation, neighborhood park rehabilitation, some components of community park rehabilitation, and then we have all kinds of miscellaneous things out there. So we have retaining walls and parking lots and sidewalks and all those types of things we use that program for.
But this has nothing to do with community center. It's all.
No, nothing to do with community center. It's completely separate. So in 2026, there's only two things we have scheduled. One is the repaving of Bavaria Road, and you can see the red line going. So it's basically from the border of Chaska and Victoria all the way down to Pioneer Trail. We were going to do that this summer, but we thought maybe since every other road in town was closed, that maybe wasn't a good idea. But that's a $1.4 million project. And then we always put 3 miles of trail resurfacing into that. You may have seen over the last couple of days, they were out resurfacing like the trails.
Yeah, over by Southwest Christian, I saw.
Christian and stuff.
Since we're on that topic,
Yep.
Bavaria Road on that there's obviously some new because of the right-hand turn lane and left-hand turn lane, and then there's new because of the roundabout, but there's also some pretty rough in between. When is that section of Bavaria going to get done?
So are you talking about south of Pioneer Trail?
Yes.
I'd have to find that out because we have it all on a sort of a schedule.
Yeah, because I'd be curious because it's kind of like, they're not big,
Yeah.
but there's definitely some like smooth and then it's really rough.
Yeah.
And it's smooth again and then it's really rough.
A lot of times what we do too is, you know, we plan for a section of road that we know we can get done for a certain budgeted amount, and then we go out and we actually get pricing.
Sure.
And we're able to add stuff on.
Okay.
So we try to under promise and over deliver.
Yeah, no, I just
Yeah.
curious.
Would Engler not be part of this? Because outside the community center now with the construction and the new roundabout, that is from 41 over to Audubon. It's just tore up immensely.
Engler is,
So that's going to all be repaved by the county.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And actually with that, we found out it's probably going to be right around the first or second week in November that's done. So actually,
The whole project?
the whole project.
Oh, wow.
So,
They've been working those weekends,
Yeah.
evenings.
That
They're
41,
out there.
yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
so we'll see.
And then the
Yeah,
other,
now, when is that officially, I know we're changing the subject,
okay.
but when is that gonna shut down there? I know they're gonna open up. the
They're
big-
going to,
Are they opening one up before they shutting down, or are they shutting the one down too and then opening
they're
the
like
one
going to
up?
open up the one at 8 o'clock tomorrow night and close down the other one at 8:01.
Okay,
oh, so it's,
It's
Okay.
good. It's going to be pretty simultaneous.
yep, nope,
that they
that's
do
fine.
that.
I was
Yep.
curious, okay.
Yep. So one thing you'll notice in 2027, we have we don't have $1 million of projects, so we're trying to balance the fact that we're doing $1.4 million in 2026. But we still have yet to identify specifically what street seal coat and overlay. There's additional pickleballs down Lions Park that are proposed in that, and then trail resurfacing. And then you can see as we go down, probably the one, the next playground that we deal with would be the Bavaria Hills Playground in 2028. It's the one that's where
Your neighborhood, right?
it's the one where it sort of looks like the two neighborhoods should connect
Yep,
together.
But they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
that's so
I
weird.
think it's Symphony Hills.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. All right, next slide. So then our building improvement program. This has obviously been a huge focus of ours for the last 4 years. I won't go over everything in here. We have facilities that need to be able to keep up with our time. This has been a strategic priority of the cities now for the last 4 or 5 years. We've done a ton of engagement type of things, and obviously we're very close to having our first building completed, which we got to see tonight. So as we go to the next slide, this is the order of priority that we put for our different facilities. Number one priority was public safety because we felt that that was the highest need, especially with our police department, just given where they're located now is just not even close to being adequate for what our needs are there. Second priority is municipal service building. As you're aware, we did approve the concept plan for that at the last meeting. We're on schedule to go out to bid in the late January, early February timeframe. If everything goes fine with that, then we would be planning for a May of next year construction start. And then that's, it's about a 14 to 18 month construction time period to get that completed. The library is our priority number 3. We talked about this a couple of meetings ago, but we're actually going to start sort of the process for planning for this a little bit earlier than we did with our other buildings, because we're going to need a little bit more public input into this process, and that always takes a lot more time to do that. So I would really envision that right around this time next year is when we would see us start that process, and probably have some type of a task force to sort of help and guide in things that people would like to see our library be. And then the fourth priority, once we move the library out, we'll basically reclaim the space within City Hall to really have our ultimate build out for City Hall and the different functions that are within this building. Next slide gives the sort of timelines. You can see again the 2026, the MSB construction would begin. Sometime in late 27 is when we would expect the construction of that to be completed. We would expect construction of the library to begin in May of 2028, and that would be completed in late 2029, and then we'd hope to be completed in late 2030 with the remodel of City Hall. So that's sort of the timeline that we're on, and so far we've really stuck with these dates. Next slide. This gives you a sense of sort of where things are at as far as the cost for the different facilities, and then also below the sources that we use. So the tax levy each year for 4 years, we added the $1.125 million to take that contribution, and then the utility comes in because our utilities share these facilities with the general fund. And so it's really contributing their fair share to making sure that, whatever we're building out for utility billing or water or sewer, electric, we share one facility that they're contributing their fair share to that number as well. And then this is one where I talked about new growth. You can really start to see the impact that has had over time. So the one on the left is when we started sort of our first year of implementing that tax levy, we anticipated that for the median value home in the community, that the impact would be $34 per month for a total impact for all 4 of the buildings. Since that time, when we look at 2026, that number has actually dropped to $30.50 per month. So it's dropped almost $4 per month, which doesn't sound like much, but that adds up over time and represents, from a percentage perspective, a significant drop. And we talked about this at the beginning. We said, you know what, again, it's let's under promise and over deliver. We did not want to put out numbers that all of a sudden would come back higher in the long run. We wanted to do what was the case at that time, although we understood that with growth that would probably decrease, which it has.
Yeah, I think that's an important call out that sometimes I don't know that we put enough emphasis on. I think this slide is very important to show. I remember sitting in those conversations and being like, well, if this is a lot of money that we're looking to put out there, but how important it was. But also trusting our staff too. You guys went above and beyond to really kind of do everything we can to do it really right, but also crunch the numbers. And I know you guys have worked very hard at that, but also it's about capturing the growth. And I think sometimes that bullet point isn't always emphasized enough, that we really had unique growth over the last few years. And if we hadn't kind of captured that, these numbers would look a lot different. So I think there's always that big question of, why now? Why are you doing it so fast? Why did it have to be 4 years in a row? Well, you know, which are valid questions. But I think really when we look at the growth we had, some of those slides back, that's really what helped this number come down. And, you know, it was one thing for us several years to sit there and say and hope that that's what was going to be the impact. But it's really cool for me to see this now and see finally be at that 4th layer and see that the numbers have come down and we were able to capture that growth and really spread it across the community. So,
well, I think the other thing to point out, we have a lot of industrial growth that's going to happen into the future. So it's not like we're just stuck at these numbers. Those numbers are going to continue to go down each year. And so, I mean, to me, it's why it's so important for us, you know, to be focusing on how we maximize as much industrial as possible
Right.
out in our industrial park. Because at the end of the day, that's going to be the thing that really drives everything else.
Yeah, and I also think too, like in expanding and we kind of threaded the needle in the sense that, you know, 4 years seemed like a sweet spot in terms of just the inflationary costs of building itself and just making sure that, you know, we are being, you know, good stewards of taxpayer dollars, but also at the same time, not delaying something that was gonna inevitably cost more and something that we were gonna end up having to do in the long run. I think that's a really important point, you know, in regards to the touching on the growth, that we are at that point of capacity and just ensuring that we're set for the future.
All right. Just a couple other items to note. The public safety aid, we are going to finally use the rest of that this next year. Some of the bigger items that we have, like we talked tonight about the simulator that's going to be in there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So stuff like that is what we're using the rest of our public safety aid dollars for. I mean, it was a great opportunity for us, you know, to be able to go into this new building and then have dollars that we were not expecting to be able to use those towards things that are going to make that facility even better. So we'll be done after next year with those dollars. The one on the bottom is going to continue to increase each year. So this is the 1% sales tax, 1/4% of that, 0.75% goes to transportation, 1/4% goes to housing. We received, or will receive about $339,000 this year. We expect that to be around $345,000 for next year. It really depends on how people spend in the community. You know, we're sort of pooling those dollars right now, but I think this is going to be, I think this could start to become a nice tool for us to be able to go out and have what I consider sort of seed money to partner with groups like the CDA. who really are good at going out and creating these affordable projects. And if we, can come to the table with things to partner with them and use those to leverage other resources that they have to really create some nice projects. So I guess Elise wanted me to stop talking about that.
I accidentally hit the button.
I actually thought you were in controlling of your own slides.
Oh, no.
And you were saying next slide, and then you were pressing the button for the next slide.
I actually thought Krista did it also.
See, we have everybody fooled. No. The other one, just a note, is the franchise fee. We're going to be building in some amount into the budget for this year. I think we targeted maybe like $150,000 or so. We don't really know what that franchise fee amount's going to be until we start collecting it. But we will get something because if you look at Minnesota Valley, they have all of our new industrial south of Engler. We'll continue to have all of our new industrial south of Engler until 2040, and they have all of this stuff up by Chevelle and stuff. So there's going to be some dollars that come in there. Again, we're just sort of pegging a number at this point, but we'll be keeping track of sort of where we see that come in.
And we're using that towards our camp, or am I?
Yeah, we're using it towards, what was it, I know. We're using it to help reduce some of the administrative fee burden of the community center to the general fund.
Oh, okay.
Because because we're still, remember, we'll be going through that, but we're still trying to build up those
Yeah.
dollars there, so
I
we're.
haven't seen the community center appear on any of these slides.
No,
though.
because the
it's an
community center
enterprise.
is a separate fund from the general fund. So we actually have, 10 funds? Yeah. Yeah, you guys will be seeing a lot more budget stuff. So, so that all the, like, community center, town course, the loop, electric, water, sewer, stormwater, all those are separate budgets. Yep. This is just the general fund, which is our general city services that are supported by tax levy.
Got it.
The rest of those all have revenues that really sort of support them outside of tax levy.
Got it, okay.
Yep. Next slide. Just some of the things just to point out as far as additions in the general fund budget for next year. We do have the Chaska Today 6 additions put in there, which has had really good reviews so far, so look forward to getting more of those out. I'll just point out some of the big ones. We do have a comp study that we're in the middle of right now. We're sort of estimating what it's going to cost to implement some of the things to get us up to market with all of our positions. We do have a police officer starting on July 1st, which is our 32nd officer, and then a co-responder social worker position. So this will be the first one position that we have that's directly related to dealing with some of those real challenging mental health type of cases that we have within the police department. So that'll start on July 1st. Next slide. The fire, the big one there is that we'll be going, starting January 1st, to a 24-hour duty crew model, which means that out of anything we're doing in the budget this year, I think this is going to have the biggest impact out of all of them from a service level perspective that people see. Because right now we run between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., which means from 10 till 6, we're running with people just responding to the station when they're getting paged out. The call time, our response time is significantly better when we're coming directly from the station instead of having to come, it makes sense, coming from home to there. So I think that's a huge, huge one that we have. And then, like our building inspections, we have a building permit technician who's retiring, so we're put dollars in to move that to a full-time position because you've seen where building permits have gone. It's very busy. So the rest are relatively small type things, but it just lists out everything that's a change from last year. And then this is our equipment. So we have our equipment on a schedule. So for instance, our plow trucks are 20 years. I think our pumper trucks are 20 years. So we have 7 years for a squad car. So there's specific number of years that make the most economic sense for us to be able to keep these vehicles and equipment. So this goes through and sort of talks about the different pieces of equipment that we have scheduled to be replaced next year. Next slide has sort of a continuation of that, getting all the way down to spreaders and aerators, things that people don't necessarily think about, but are things that are pretty key to keeping the city and looking good. Next slide. So this gets sort of the brass tacks, the levy and the impact. So you can see that our 2026 general fund and EDA levy would be just shy of $24 million. And just, I think I've mentioned this in the past, to give you a sense, our general fund only represents about 25% of our entire budget. And of that, the tax levy, the tax levy just represents a portion of that. This represents just a portion of our total budget, but it is an increase of 14.606%, but the impact is less than that because of the new growth that we've seen in the community. So you can see a median value of home in 2024 was $390,000. That house, that same house in 2025 would pay $1,533 per year for taxes, city taxes. The median value of home in 2025 has gone up to $400,000. So that home this year, or for next year, would pay $1,705. So it represents an increase of $14.33 per month, or $172 per year, or an impact of 11.22% increase for that home. So of that, I always break it down. The baseline, so that's our general operations, represents $85 of that, and our building program represents $87 of that total amount. Next slide. This just gives you a sense of sort of a breakdown of where your tax dollars go as far as school, county, and then the city, and others like mosquito control and stuff. So this chart really sort of gives you sort of the same numbers, but gives you a sense of that red represents our building improvement program. And you can see what portion of our levy, so in 2026, again, that's our last year of our building program. So for that, facility debt service on that median value home, $1,338 would go towards our general city operations, with $367 going towards debt service. But that's not just debt service on public safety, that's debt service for all of our future buildings.
So does none of the slide before, the dollar bill, none of it goes to state? That's all from income tax? None of our property taxes are paid to the state?
Well, unless you're a commercial industrial property.
Sure.
Commercial industrial properties, their property tax actually pays for the state portion of school funding.
Okay.
It happens, it used to be that all school funding was done at the local level, but there is commercial industrial tax now that goes towards that. But there is no residential
Oh,
property tax.
like roads and plowing and all that, that's all from income tax? It's nothing out of property tax?
No, well, depending. Roads and plowing for us, our services, all comes from property taxes.
I'm thinking like 41 and like...
41, that all comes from income taxes.
Okay, interesting, I didn't know
Yep.
that.
Yep. And then this gives us a sense of where we are. So there's 84 cities in the metropolitan area that we compare to. We're number 53, and that puts us at the lowest 63% of cities in the metro area. To give you a sense, when we sort of started this program, we sort of thought we'd sort of end up in the middle of all the cities, and then as we continued to grow, we'd start to see ourselves go back closer towards the bottom. So we've actually probably performed a little bit better than what we had anticipated when we started the program. But again, we're still lower than the median property tax levy per capita in the metro area. And again, we're in the lowest 63% of cities out there. Next slide. This just gives you a sense. So by September 30th of each year, councils have to adopt their maximum tax levy.
Kind of cutting it out on the wire here.
If it goes too long, you miss it.
Yeah, I know. So when we set the maximum tax levy, you set it, you have the ability to lower it before the final levy is set, but you do not have the ability to raise it. The reason they set September 30th as a date is because they send out their truth in taxation notices in November. And so that gives them plenty of time to be able to put a tax statement together for each property and send it out and say, if these taxing jurisdictions pass what they are talking about, this would be the impact on your home. So that's the purpose for doing it today. So we have to do that. During October and November, so the 9 other funds I was talking about, that's when we'll talk about that. In fact, I think it's October 20th, we're talking about the recreation funds. That'd be the community center, curling center, and the 2 golf courses. And it probably will be the second meeting in November when we talk about the utility funds. So we try to group those 2 together. December 1st is when we have our truth and taxation hearing. So this is when people have the ability to come and make any comments or questions or anything like that on what's being proposed. No decision can be made on that night. We just take input. And then December 15th is when we would adopt the final levy for 2026. And then establish our budgets, not only for the general fund, but all of our utility funds, and then set rates and all that kind of stuff. So that's sort of what you can expect for the schedule going out for the rest of the budget year. That's it. Is there any questions?
Any questions for Matt? I mean, I think it's good to remind the folks that are watching this that we've had 2 work sessions on this so far this year. Just as we have some new council members to our budgetary process, just kind of bringing them up to speed, but then also just getting more real-time numbers, I think was the second time we had kind of a refresh of everything. And so you've done a very thorough job tonight. I wouldn't say we brushed over it, but if we don't have any pressing questions during this time, it's not because we don't ask questions, it's really just because we've seen this material 3 times now. And so it hasn't really changed since the first time. Just numbers here and there maybe, but
I
not
think the other
general
thing to point
concept.
out is nothing's changed from last year's discussion. I mean, we've really had the same discussion now for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, like you had said, I mean, you talk about the 4 different budgetary priorities being the capture of new growth and inflation with our tax levy policy, the camp, building of our general reserve fund, and then our building program. Those are kind of the 4 major entities that we are, utilizing with our tax levy. I think as we go back and talk about, just earlier today, even just the visitor presentation that was in here and winning that award for having the best tasting drinking water is more than just, hey, our drinking water tastes really good. It's also very safe to drink. And I think kind of go back to just as a reminder that the importance of these services and the facilities that maintain these services, that they're well cared for and well funded, is really a reflection of the priorities that we're kind of putting forward with this tax levy this year in our building program, with having our municipal service building next up to kind of be adequately servicing our community with the amount of fleet and staff we have on, and then obviously the finishing of our public safety campus, and then just the library, just in terms of enrichment in our community and the amenities that our community members really request and desire to be here. And then finishing that out with City Hall, just the growth within our city staff and the need to have this building be utilized. I mean, we have departments that can't be here physically in the building because there's just no space for them, so.
We've just gone through 2 interview processes in the last 3 weeks, and we've had to do them up at the community center because
Well, I'm
we
sure that
don't,
makes people want to join this.
yeah, we don't have any place to actually hold interviews.
Right,
here,
and
so
that's not necessarily like the most quiet space
Yeah.
to hold interviews because it's a recreational center. And so, you know, it's, I think it's just important that as we grow as a city and our services grow and the people that move out here have a level of expectation and desire to have good services, they want to be able to flush their toilets, turn their lights on, be able to get to and from work when it snows, and all of the said above, that these are things that are important and as part of our budgetary needs. And so I really want to make sure that that gets touched on, and then also that this is the maximum that we can go out for. We can have discussions as those statements come out and as things come into fold, that if there's something that needs to be shuffled around, that's not that it's not off the table, it's just that this is the maximum that we can go out for. So it's still many more discussions that could be had on that topic. And that's my, welcome to my TED Talk.
And I'll just add, you know, as a new council member, what got me to actually think I should run for council was some of the public safety concerns and the tax increase last year. And then after I ran and got elected and all that, I actually came to speak last year at the taxation December meeting to say that I thought my taxes went up too much. And by the end of the presentation that day where you were walking through all of it, I had to back my comments back down. But I think it's really interesting. We like to say our taxes go up and we like to look for someone to blame. And I get that as a residential homeowner. I don't like to pay any more than anyone else does. But when you look at the services you are getting for those dollars in the city between all of the recreational things like town course and loop and community center, and then, you know, the idea of our police are operating out of a building that doesn't have an evidence room or doesn't have a question detention center, any of those kinds of things, you're not really operating at the standard you expect them to operate back at. So building these buildings and doing it for the cost that we are of, what did you say, $75 a month or something, is really inexpensive. It's no more than groceries or gasoline or anything else is going up. And with that, you're expanding to a 24/7 duty crew for fire, and you're adding, you know, all these great amenities that will make this city not only more attractive, but more safe for those that already live in it. So when you start to think about that, yes, your taxes go up partially because of the school, and we talked about last week, we should be educating our young, so we should vote yes for the referendum, partially because of the county. Still not sure what they do, but it really is important to make sure that your city maintained amenities are maintained well, and that your, you know, staff is cared for. And so after I have been on the council and seen some of these presentations or read the materials more, I really don't think you can complain about a less than $100 increase a month. It's very, you know, like Taylor said, as the city grows, you're going to need more and more, so it's really expected.
Yeah, I think it's reflective that these aren't, I mean, some of the things are amenities, but a lot of it is very essential services.
Yeah.
I think that's
I mean,
really
when you
an
call
important-
911, you want a fire or a police or an
Yes.
ambulance to be there.
That's why, again, I think the most significant thing that's on that, talking about next year, other than the buildings that need to get addressed, is the dollars going towards the 24/7 duty crew.
Yeah.
To me, that's a significant service enhancement. You know, probably second on that is, you know, being able to put in the
Training facilities.
social worker position into our police service, which is, you know, most bigger departments are doing that because there's a real need to do that.
Yeah.
So.
I think it would be really interesting too, and not to put any, you know, pressure on Ryan, but it would be really nice if, like, maybe there's a visitor presentation that he does in the coming weeks that shows the upgrade this new facility will have from what they have now. So when you talk about state-of-the-art training facilities and simulators, or you talk about evidence locker rooms and vaults and, you know, the things that we don't have today, it's not just a massive pretty building with upscale offices. It's actually, you know, going to better the interrogation process, the witness protection process, the training process, you know, all the vehicles will be inside so they're warm when they're ready to go to a call. So just all those things that he was walking us through today are very informative and give a good reason why we're spending, you know, almost $40 million on a new public safety building.
Yeah, I think the fire department, extremely important on 2 levels, obviously for level service, that the response time to calls is, vitally important. Minutes matter in regards to if it's a medical or if it's actual fire. But I also think as like a recruitment tool, I think the paid on-call model is a model that is challenging in today's environment with people's work schedules, their family obligations, their own personal obligations. And so being able to actually be scheduled and know when you're going to be working and when you're not, and have that sort of structure and knowingness, I think, is very important for that recruitment piece of things. As I know a lot of fire departments struggle to bring on new fire department firefighters as others retire out, and in a growing community you need more too. It's just these are basic math, right? And so this is all kind of, everything is intended to have, there's a reason behind that. It's not just, like you said, pretty things and bells and whistles. It's like, this is very important for the functionality.
And we didn't really see it today, but that training wall, if Steve could come in and talk about, like, that is amazing that they can practice breaking in and out of windows and both, commercial and residential. And just like the simulator for the police, there's so much that if, people saw the behind the scenes tour that we just got today, you would understand why this building may be expensive, but also is so necessary. So,
yeah, it would be great for our community.
Yeah, I think I always like to just pretty much everything that's said, but also just remind people, at least for myself, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'd guess they're similar. This isn't something we take lightly. River City Days is a good example. Get to talk about these things with all the residents to kind of have those conversations and hopefully come to a better understanding. And usually we do, of why do we have to do this? Why is it important? And knowing that, it's our neighbors, it's our taxes too. There are seniors on fixed incomes, and with inflation, everything is more expensive. So this is not an easy thing to do. And like I said, it's not something we do lightly. We really look at the community and say, is this going to make it better? Is this going to be a better quality of life for our residents? And have that vision that's sometimes difficult, to have that vision of knowing, being able to look a little further, be willing to look a little further and say, once we get there, this is really good. Sometimes we're asking you guys to trust us, to come along for the ride a little bit. And certainly when we look at double-digit numbers, even with the tax levy and with impact, that feels like a lot. And just know that it's not something we're doing flippantly. Mayor touched on it. We go through these several times, these presentations. We really think about it. And even back to, prior councils, when we look back to, I think we started these conversations in 2019 or even earlier. They started earlier, but 2019 was where I think we really started to put like dollars down to really look at it. And I remember those conversations, they were hard, and we've had to kind of stick with it. And certainly it's not always been fun, but really it is what's best for the community. And I think we can all stand behind that and be really proud of the community we live in because of that. So I just like to mention it's not something we take lightly. So it's something I personally lost sleep over. I live on one income. I think I've talked about that before, and certainly understand the impact every dollar has. So I just like to mention that.
yeah.
I think that's really important. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah, I think well said. I don't take anything for granted. Numbers are important. I appreciate putting the numbers together, but also recognize that every, dollar impacts someone differently, right? And so for some people, that's, yep, that makes sense. I can handle that. Others, that's going to be a challenge, and I respect that. I'll just say that this is the time of year when this will get published. And I suspect even as early as tonight, there will be posts on our social media worlds about high ink taxes. And those are welcome and responsive, right? I just encourage people, watch this council meeting back, look at the material, reach out to us up here to ask those questions. Because I think, I'll just say it, it's popular these days to fearmonger taxes in social media, right? I really appreciate you sharing your honest
Yeah.
reflection.
Yeah.
Because I do think there is a lot of that where we just don't know, and a big flashing number, and then you listen to other people, and and again, generally, people mean well. I say generally, I think there's probably a few social media worlds that sometimes you look at this like, they don't even live in the city, and they're commenting on the city taxes, right? That's always interesting. But a lot of it just gets because you just have pieces and you try to pull together. Just reach out to me, reach out to any of us up here. Don't take it for granted, but yeah, I think, the thing that always resonates with me was when we went for the first vote for this, there was lots of conversation. In particular, like I just respect and understand like why do we need this giant safety center and so fancy, and it's going to raise their taxes and people are going to leave the community, and I just reflectively say that is a choice people can make, but I also look at like people choose to stay in communities because they have a fire group that's going to respond.
Feel safe.
And it comes down to taking care of the people that take care of us when we're the most vulnerable too, right? And so I always remember that comment because that resonated really well. It was all this conversation, like people will leave. And I said, but people will also leave if you don't take care of the stuff we need and rely on, right? So that was always that balance to me. Again, you're not going to ever stop someone who purely makes a decision where they live based on a tax burden. You're never going to win that battle because there's going to be a city that has less taxes somewhere, right? But what you provide and that value, that perception of that value, it is the long game. And so I've always just remembered that because, again, it's going to be now until that final vote, I'm sure we'll see a plethora of posts and, even the Star Tribune and those newspapers will pick up different cities and there'll be a comparison. And again, I just take the time to ask, educate yourself, and you still may be upset with it, and that's okay. But do take the time to understand and reach out to us if you need to.
And I think the last thing I'll say about that is put it into perspective, because $87 or $89 a month, I know I personally pay to belong to Lifetime. We use it quite often, and the dues went up for a family of four, $67 this year to continue to use the club as is. And I have my children in private school, and the tuition went up $620 this year to continue to provide them that education. So everything goes up, but if it's of value to you, you will find a way, or you will at least understand why, even if you don't like it, it goes up. And this is a very small increment. If you look at Lifetime at 67, and it's an athletic club versus the city you live in and the police and fire response, so.
I think it's all been said.
Man, a few words over to my right here. Yeah, I feel like we've talked and discussed this at length, and I think we all kind of, are welcoming to conversations from our constituents that, if you have questions about this, we're happy to answer those questions. We're happy to have those conversations for better understanding. I think that is always the shared goal, is I think the people that reach out and reach out to us either via phone or email or in person, they want better understanding, and I think that we are wanting to give that to them, and so I think that is very much a common and shared goal. So with that being said, I think we have to pass this thing. And so I think someone has to make a motion to pass adopt the resolution number 2025-68, the proposed assessed 2025 payable 2026 maximum property tax levy.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Grah.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Hatfield. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
The one quick thing I'll point out is we'll have a quick EDA meeting where you guys will also have to set the EDA levy, but the impact that I showed you guys included the EDA levy. So it doesn't change it any, it's just that you have to approve them separately.
Can you go through the whole presentation again?
Yeah,
I think
man, I'm
I might.
requiring you to.
That might not
That
pass
be
it by
I
midnight.
have for midnight. Poor
You're giving me
officer.
ideas.
Tony over here will,
Throw himself
oh
out there.
no. Your hair is like, wow, aren't you great? Just a shining star back there. Okay, that moves us along to the bills. Does anybody have a question on a bill at all that's come before us? I know it wasn't very many. I mean, there's lots, but it helps when we have a council
Yeah.
meeting last week, so.
2 weeks, it was.
Was
we
it
knew
2 weeks ago?
We knew what she meant.
We have one next
All of a
week.
sudden,
no one
all of a
wants
sudden, I was like, did I miss it?
That's what I said. I was like, shit, did I miss
I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't
We
know.
were just gonna, I was just gonna go with it for you. but-
Okay,
Well,
I
I panicked.
appreciate, no,
I was like, wait
hold me to the truth, people, that's fine, I messed up, you're right. It just wasn't too bad, I guess.
We have one next week.
Well, yeah, so maybe it will be, yeah, it just didn't seem that bad, I guess.
Motion to approve paying the bills.
Okay, so we have a motion from Councilmember Shevlin
Second.
and a second from Councilmember Benish. All right, any other discussion? Otherwise, roll call vote, please.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my,
I was slow, I was like,
No,
she's trying to get her bills up on the screen.
Councilmember Hatfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Benish,
Yes.
Councilmember Shevlin.
Yes.
Councilmember McGraw,
Aye.
Mayor Hubbard.
Aye. All right, bills
You know,
are,
this is sort of off the topic, but the thing that used to make me most nervous when I was in her position was when I had to call the names, and if I forgot to write down, and there was a couple times I kept on calling the mayor a different name. Not to make you,
still
not to
trying to
make you
get
nervous.
well, I'm
to work
glad
over
that we
here.
have someone really highly
can
skilled and
remember
competent
faces.
in this seat
actually
to my
called-
right over here because
I actually called
I'm
the-
starting to question the person on the left.
I actually called Mark, the previous mayor, twice.
Oh,
He didn't let me forget that.
I'm sure. Well, if you call me Mark, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
what does that say about me? So, okay, moving along. Other city business. Councilmember Hatfield. Or, yeah, let's do this. Sorry.
Well, I have a whole list here for you.
Okay.
This Saturday, I think we mentioned this last time, the Carver County Government Center will be having an open house, or the sheriff will be having an open house, so that's a nice time. Even though we have our own amazing police, they are still a part of our community and pitch in, and they are located in our community, so, and they do a lot. And, you know, everything's persecuted, all of the stuff happens. There's a bunch of things that happen there, so you should go see at their open house, which is, starts at 10 on Saturday. And then a few other things coming up. It's a busy fall into holiday season, but one thing I really want to share and make sure is getting out there is the Shop and Sip Saturdays. Sip and Shop.
Yep.
You can do both, is what the message is. Downtown, so I know Size has been doing some pop-ups at like Hayloft and outside Body Expressions, so you can actually wander around with an alcoholic beverage in a certain area with certain guidelines, but, and go to the different shops and enjoy a beverage along the way. So that's very exciting, to have some pop-ups, to have our businesses doing that, so please spend some time down there. As you start holiday shopping, I always say, when I do my Christmas wish list, I put down, do not buy anything on Amazon, don't buy this, go buy this at Hayloft, go buy this at Carver Junk, you know, whatever it may be. So they are great. There's so many shops to shop for holiday shopping, so you can start now. So yeah, that's every Saturday now through December something. But basically, you can go every Saturday, which sounds great to me. And then there's lots of things coming up. 10/24 is the Katrina Festival at the Event Center, 6 p.m. 10/25, from 4 to 6 at the Community Center is the Halloween Jamboree. The downtown will have their Halloween event somewhere in there. I can't remember the date. It's not on Facebook yet.
It's the same date.
Is
It's
it
just
the same? Okay,
earlier.
10/25.
Yep.
You can really go from event to event that day and get a lot of candy for your kids. Because the Chaska Commons has one, I think, in the morning,
it's
and then you can go right to, it sounds like the mayor has the details, so I'll let-
Well, no, I mean, I was like, I gotta find the Chaska Commons one, the specific times. but
Yeah, I
you're
think
right.
they're like 11 to 1 maybe?
I think you might be
And
right on
then
that.
the downtown, it's really is, you could go like right from event to event, that Saturday.
11
So-
to 1, yep.
Yeah, so 10/25 is that day. And then all of October, you can bring your yard waste to the Dakota Prairie composting, which is fantastic. November 1st is also our Chaska cleanup day where you can bring yard waste as well, but super handy that you could bring it like anytime. I know, like, I always feel like I end up being busy on the cleanup days, so it's nice that you can just go just south of Chaska here on 41, to Dakota Prairie Composting, just kind of by where Renfest is, and Bring Your Yard Waste. So they have more details on their Facebook page. If you want to check that out. 11/23, as we get into November, is the Chaska tree lighting at 6 p.m. 11/29 is Small Business Saturday.
Or Thanksgiving?
So, lots to go, or lots going on. And then in there is also hometown holiday downtown, Deer Weekend downtown. I am not joking when I say you can do pretty much all the fun things downtown coming up from now until December. So, I think that's all my stuff. That's all I wrote down, so,
Great report.
thanks.
All right, Councilmember Benish.
Not much. I just want to congratulate Golden Kitchen on opening this past week. Should be awesome to check out. And now you can get there easier because 41 and 10 is going to open up tomorrow night in about 24 hours.
And you
So-
can have a margarita
and you
now.
can have a margarita tomorrow night too, thanks to us.
Does it go that fast?
Yeah,
Is
are
it
they,
fast?
are they able to do it next day, or is there like
No, they have
there's a
to get,
restriction?
they have to go, we have to send it into the state, and then the state
Oh,
has to send it
okay.
back.
Okay,
Well,
margaritas
I guess
stay
we're
open.
gonna have to-
Patron
gonna have
for
to wait on the
margarita then,
state.
and dinner
so,
for the
yeah,
Golden
right.
Kitchen.
But anyway, yeah, that's all I've really got. So, yeah.
Or, Mimosa.
Oh,
Okay.
Stop for your margarita on 41 and then keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, great report. All right, Councilmember Shevlin.
So the first thing is, my second daughter is going to be 4 tomorrow, so happy birthday, Lainey. Lainey is one of those children that is just the sweetest, kindest person. Somebody texted me yesterday and said, I'm still not convinced she's human, she's an angel. So, Lainey, you are very important to us, and happy birthday. And then secondly, we welcomed our new puppy this week, Huxley, and so welcome to the family, Hux.
Oh, you got a puppy?
Yes, we got a little
Oh my
cavapoo, and
goodness.
he's very cute, but I forgot what puppies were like.
They're like forever babies.
Yes,
we have
yes.
a cavapoo.
You have a cavapoo? They're sweet, they're super sweet.
He doesn't even bark. So,
Nope,
yeah.
he's a perfect dog,
He-
actually.
yeah.
And then I wanted to take a minute to say that there have been lots of school kids out. There's bookathons going in the public schools. There's Catholic Schools Marathon going on in the private schools. Boy Scouts are still out selling wreaths, so make sure that you're welcoming when the kids are coming to the door. Even if you have no soliciting signs, they can still knock. And that you hopefully are very generous with all of the kids. And last but not least, if you are going to be out and about, 41 is opening, so no more cutting through my neighborhood to try to get through.
Really?
Oh, people come all the time, and they go so
Oh,
fast.
that's
they
probably,
can
they're
make it.
probably frustrated when
Yeah.
they rush to the end of that
Yeah.
cul-de-sac. That's a little journey there. All right, great report. All right, Councilmember Graf.
I would just add that this weekend is the Battle for the Jug, Chaska-Chan football game.
Oh, yeah.
Both really good football teams. Unfortunately, Chaska lost last weekend, otherwise they would have been undefeated, but they're both 3-1. I think
Yeah.
they're both technically state ranked, maybe pretty close to that.
Yeah, they were top 5.
It was homecoming last week, wasn't it?
For Chan. The
Yeah.
week prior was for Chaska.
Okay.
So with that comes a lot of people. So I also tell people, if you plan on going, go early.
Is it at Chanhassen
It's
or
in
is it?
Chaska.
Is it Chaska?
It's a Chaska
Okay.
home game.
All right.
To go early and bring your patients, because it's a lot of people. I always think it's amazing, because I don't know how, the numbers are always there, but I always look back, and I grew up in a small town, we're talking about that, it's like, it'd be like my whole town showing up at the football game, which is kind of crazy to think, because I can't fathom that where I grew up, right? And just like I said, it's a fun rivalry. I think the Battle for the Jug has become fun, and you know, but again, I think, like I said, go early, bring your patients, understand it's gonna be slow. There's gonna be a lot of people. If you don't like crowds, probably watch it on the telecast. But I wish Chaska good luck, and it's a fun rivalry.
I think the weather's supposed to still stay
Yeah, it's supposed
nice
to be
too,
80
so
It's gonna be, I mean, it's.
bring your
it's
t-shirt.
hot, right? Like, so I just mentioned that because I think that's a fun event, and I know typically around this, a lot of the other, I suspect, I did not look at the schedule, but I suspect volleyball might be playing Chan too. They try to typically pair those up around the same week, so a lot of the teams play the Chaska Chan. As it says in my son's middle school, respect the rivalry. that sign is in Pioneer, because that's the first area where the Chan and Chaska kids mix in middle school. So encourage everyone to respect the rivalry.
Yeah.
Very good
No,
reminder.
good, yeah, good message. All right, Elise,
Not anything.
all right. Tony, you got anything back there? No? Noel? Christoph? Man,
I actually do. So,
he's just waiting.
41 opening.
oh, 41's opening yet. No, so next week, we're gonna have very little in the council meeting. We will have a short council meeting, but we're gonna focus more on work session items. So we're gonna have 4 topics. First of all, Max Musicant is gonna give sort of his report back
Exciting.
on sort of the stuff, so that should be fun. We're gonna have Hoysen and Kogler here that's gonna be taking your input in on the City Hall Plaza upgrades that we're doing. We'll do a short meeting, and then after the meeting, we'll have 2 redevelopment discussions. One is an update on City Square West and some exciting new developments we have there. And the other one, which I'll just say it's
Already got
about,
the bonding dollars.
no,
Hasn't happened yet.
the other one is about,
My work, the magic worked.
the other one's about the KFC site.
Oh, I want to know that now.
boy.
Tell us.
Nope.
Okay.
I have a question.
You're like
Will there be
soap opera,
chicken?
like, talk about the
names
teas
on
for the
Wheat
next,
from
yeah.
Hey, he's
So-
gonna get those.
Should I bring
$1.2
some
million
chicken tenders?
Man, I'm not gonna be able to sleep a wink until next Monday. I'm so
1.2 million
excited.
viewers will be watching about KFC.
good.
Trust me.
Yeah,
Instead of
so-
counting sheep, Mary, you
Yeah.
can just count chickens if you can't sleep at night. She missed my joke.
What'd you say?
It's all
What?
good. I'll
Okay.
tell you later.
Instead
You
of
missed my
counting
joke.
sheep, you can count chickens.
Oh, yeah. Count my eggs.
Yeah, chickens.
Yeah, chicken.
Which side note, I think the first permit for a chicken coop in Chaska has been approved.
Yes.
Was it by
Yep.
KFC?
Did everyone
Not
live?
by- Not by KFC.
Oh,
Well,
darn.
we'll find out. It hasn't probably started yet,
The
but
bill probably has.
yes,
Or maybe.
we'll find out.
Well, I can't wait.
That's, yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about not showing up next Monday, but now I'm coming.
Oh, you're all in.
Tease you a little bit?
Terrible. Well, gee whiz, I
Tough to
don't
follow
even know
that.
how to follow that. Okay, a couple notes that weren't covered. In addition to all the fun trick-or-treating events and jamborees that Saturday, their Friends of the Library in the Chaska Library will be having their book sale. They've been doing them kind of like every other month now. Or no, not every quarterly? I don't know. Anyways, they've been having them every few months instead of one big sale. And so the next one is on Friday the 24th from 1 to 5 p.m. and then Saturday the 25th from 10 to 2:30. So it will coincide with that trick or treat. They'll also have a bag sale. But the theme for the Friends of the Library is holiday books, movies, music for adults and children's. So like a lot of gift opportunities, art and coffee table books, crafts and decorating books. So if you have some Christmas gifts, book lovers on the list, then you can check it off at the Chaska Library, Friends of the Library book sale. Okay, and then just to kind of recap, we had our, we hosted the Senate Capital Finance Committee here last week for the bonding tour, and that was in regards to City Square West. And so it went very well, and I think it was great to host the committee there, and look forward to hosting the Minnesota Representative House Committee, Capital Finance Committee, to do that tour for them as well. So, and that's on October 23rd, so that'll be coming up this next month. This week on Thursday, Chaska Yards, which was where the Ernst House was, for the council members that are new, it was a redevelopment site that we have downtown Chaska where we put some, revitalized a historic property, and then also put three other homes. I'm gonna get that number right one of these days, in collaboration with the CDA. So that ribbon cutting is on Thursday, and I think it's at like
Starts at
12:30,
11.
or 11.
11 to 12:30.
11 to 12:30. Thank you, I didn't write the times down.
Mayor, if I can just add, those houses are for sale, and it's really cool to see. I have one of the listings up. It's listed for $265,000, which is an incredible price
Yeah.
for a 3-bed, 2.5-bath in downtown Chaska, and that's really the goal of these projects. And when Matt talked earlier about being able to use dollars for affordability, this is one of those projects where that got to happen. And so to have 4 homes in that price range with that amount of bedrooms and bathrooms downtown is amazing. And we get to welcome some really amazing folks to be neighbors down there, and I think that's awesome. So I just wanted to share that price point. When I looked at it, I was like, these really nice homes for $265,000, that's a dream for some people. And this work the CDA did on that and in partnership with the city is just really incredible.
Yeah,
So-
and they worked really hard.
And they're beautiful homes. They're
I know-
beautiful.
I know even Elise,
Yeah.
prior to her time here with the city, being with the CDA, put a lot of time and effort in over there as well. So it's a lot of work, thank you. And I know, and talking with Allison, just how much work went into kind of making that whole thing happen. And that was not an easy endeavor, just dealing with a historic home. That was a lot of challenges that went about with that. So great job to see that kind of be a success, so. We have Pizza with a Cop on October 22nd. That's in the evening. I think it's from 5 to 7. And Officer Martine and I think Kevin are going to be out in the Points West neighborhood, which just happens to be my neighborhood, for one of their 5-0 trailers. So they're starting to kick that off, and that's in October as well. We have an upcoming meeting here this next Monday, since this was kind of our 5th Monday of the month. And so our next council meeting is on the 6th. And obviously you shared all those juicy details, so I don't need to go into that. We're gonna have a work session or anything. But we do have the EDA meeting following this, and that's kind of all I have. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
All right.
Second?
All right, motion from Councilmember Hatfield and second from Councilmember Shevlin. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. All right. That moves us along to, I'm assuming we can go right into the Economic Development Authority meeting. Krista? Okay. All right, call the Chaska Economic Development Authority meeting to order for Monday, September 29th at 8:41. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hatfield,
Here?
Commissioner Benish,
Here.
Commissioner Shevlin,
Here?
Commissioner Grau,
Here.
President Howard.
Here. All right, next we have the adoption of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda? Otherwise, I entertain a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All right, motion from Commissioner Benish.
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Grau. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda's adopted. I didn't really hit my gavel on that one. All right, next we have approval of the previous meeting minutes. These meeting minutes were actually from September 15th of 2025. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right, motion from Commissioner Grau.
Second.
Ooh, second from Commissioner Benish, sorry. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meetings approved, sorry, meeting minutes approved. Sorry, I saw something on my screen and it distracted me. All right, that leads us into our discussion items. First discussion item is 5A, modification of the redevelopment plan for redevelopment project number 4, establishing a tax increment financing TIF district number 25, adopting a TIF plan and authorizing the execution of a TIF agreement and granting a business subsidy.
I'll let Elise take this one.
So she stays awake.
President Howard and Commissioners, this actually was a consent agenda item for you this evening. And then if you think back 2 weeks ago, during your EDA meeting as well as your council meeting, you held public hearings. This is to establish the TIF district for EDCO. I won't get into all the details, but it does provide EDCO with some of that tax increment to be able to move forward with doing their project. Additionally, we have set aside funding from that TIF district to go to pay for some of the infrastructure costs that will be happening as we look at extending the water and sewer out there, as well as the creek road improvements. So I'm available if the commission has any additional questions, but you've seen this numerous times over the past several meetings.
That's, I think, a great point, is that we've, been discussing this, and now it feels like it's here. Does anybody have any questions for Elise? All right. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution. It looks like we have two resolutions to approve. I would entertain a motion to approve the first resolution, which is 2025-65, modifying the boundary of redevelopment project area number 4 to incorporate TIF 25, establishing the tax increment financing economic development district number 25, and adapting the tax increment financing plan. Sorry.
Motion to approve.
All right, a motion from Commissioner Shevlin.
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Benish. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that resolution is approved. And then next, we also, in regards to this, have a motion to approve resolution number 2025-66, authorizing the execution of a TIF financing agreement and granting a business subsidy. Entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
All right, motion from Commissioner Benish, and a second from Mayor Hubbard. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that is approved. All right, so that leads us to 5B on our discussion items, which is adopt EDA resolution number 2025-69, establishing a preliminary Chaska EDA maximum levy for payable of 2026.
President and Commissioners, this is an extension of our budget discussion that we had during our council meeting. So part of the impact that I showed you guys for a tax levy included the EDA levy, but we have to approve the EDA levy separate from the council's general fund levy. With the EDA levy, the thing that's different is, if you remember, in the levy that was set for the council, we had inflation plus new growth plus the building program. So you take out the building program for the EDA because that doesn't have anything. So you just have that inflation and new growth, which was the 7.68%, which brings the total for the tax levy up to $249,217. Again, it was a 7.68% increase, and doing this would be meeting our requirements to do this by September 30th. And again, this is a maximum tax levy. It can't go up from here. It can go down. We'll establish the final levy in the second meeting, December 15th of this year.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Matt? I mean, I know we kind of discussed things at length and also was incorporated as part of the other component. So I would entertain a motion for approval of 2025-69, establishing that preliminary maximum property tax levy for the EDA.
So moved.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Grah,
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Benish. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that is the end of our discussion items for the EDA, so that brings us to other business. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up in regards to the EDA? I won't say it.
You can't bring up KFC.
I won't dangle that carrot.
I took away your ability to say anything about it.
If we do bring it up, I mean, that means you have to say it, right? No. Fine. All right. Tune in to the next episode, I guess.
Let's start calling them that.
All right. Well, if no one has any other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Oh.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Hatfield.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Shevlin. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? I like that. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
It was a good meeting, but now I really want